Right then. It's time for Honglu, or Jia Bayu, as he was originally known, to start round 2 of the Hierarch Evaluation War. We start this act with Honglu speaking. Oh, the garden's sorrow-bearer, lamenter at the flower funeral, flower rake in hand, teardrops in eyes, you carve blood-stained tears upon branches floral. I heard yesternight from the garden a song of grief, an elegy for a flower and a bird departing. Availed naught to hold the parting spring, surrendered I become, heeding the endless woe a sun's relief. Then we see the jade eye of Honglu, crying at some disturbing sight in the past. Then someone asked him if he understood. There was nothing that he could do. Thus, then we snap back to where we left off at Act 1. The silent, windless sands surrounding the desolate ruins of a building, swept through and thoroughly destroyed by a brutal, unstoppable force that was determined to leave nothing in its wake. On the plaque on this building read, "Beware the day ruin came to the Kong family, who have brought this destruction upon themselves through their grave transgressions. To violate the laws of Hongwan is no tragedy. As such, it warrants no pity, only humiliation and scorn. This site of history stands as a monument to the inevitability of karma." Ishmael asked Honglu if that was the annihilated Kong family's building. Honglu confirmed this. It's no longer in use. Sinclair understood that everyone in that building must have been... He stopped there. Gregor understood more than the silence was saying. Sinclair asked what kind of transgressions could they possibly have committed to deserve to be destroyed like that? Otis knew that it wasn't a mere strife between syndicates and fixers. They lacked anything that could lay waste on such a magnitude and such totality. It was nothing less of a war that left ruins behind. Honglu confirmed that it was unusual, even for the city. He then revealed the cause of this destruction. The head. Dante saw this as him answering simply to a complicated question. If Faust had anything to say about it, or rather, had something she knew about it, she wasn't talking. Sinclair at this point regretted not taking a few spare pairs of underwear, as he registered the fact that the head caused this. Ishmael understood that the Kong family likely broke a taboo, clearly not one of the local taboos, like the no recording footage taboo in District 14. Yes, that results in N-Corp taboo hunters pursuing those that break that. As for more general taboos, things like making AI or having two of the same person, the original or clone alive for more than a real-time week, those two things are cause for the head to get involved. Honglu confirmed this, adding that the sweepers came to clear up anything left behind, to erase any sign of whatever it was that violated the taboo. Dante saw the head as a terrifying entity. Just mentioning it would make the damned doesn't go all the way to brown alert. Well, They have been known to send a claw to brutally kill those that violate patents. And likely those that are a bit behind when it comes to their tax payments. Although they wait until they don't repay the amount owed for that patent violation for after 3 warning letters, so they have some standards. Yes, they also take taxation more seriously than governments in our world. Well, what do you expect from hyper-capitalists? As they were ambling aimlessly at this revelation, the host for round 2 of the evaluation welcomed the contestants, heard through the speakers, who informed them that due to numerous complaints regarding possible partiality issues, likely referring to Jia Zheng, as he's the father of at least 2 of the candidates, she'll be taking over as the host with the start of the second round. Then Heathcliff pointed out something above them, noting that they have a live audience. Dante understood that on a dilapidated rooftop was where the spectator seats were installed, filled to the brim, to the point where they all seemed to be taken. Faust confirmed that this is the case, based on how the seats were arranged, and seeing this as reasonable. The host understood that there was some troubles in the first round, but that's their once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to watch the family hierarch evaluation live and in person, asking if it's worth it. To give as many people as possible the opportunity to witness that history in the making. Telling the audience there to get the game rolling. To please give the contestants a round of applause and cheer. Let them meet their challenge as their best selves. They cheered. Heathcliff saw this as a show, as they're sitting on their popping popcorn into their mouths while they they're down there bricks. Honglu believed that they've been placing bets all night, doubting that many would bet on them. Riishu vowed to make them regret that. Ishmael wanted to point this out. They're still indoors, asking if they descended into a basement, even if they rode a lift upward. How is there a sky above them? Honglu explained that they're still in the subterranean area of Hongguan, but most of them were having a hard time believing that with the pale sky above them. Faust explained that while the practice is limited to the affluent class of Hongguan, many have taken to installing artificial environments within their rooms. In fact, several buildings within Dagruan 1 was decorated much like this. Honglu backed her up on this by explaining that the road taken to visit the elders was similarly decorated. It was always so sunny and green. He saw it as feeling more like the outside than the actual outside. Well, you're in a colossal megacity the size of over 10 Moscows, with the population of a few billion, so environments like this are rare, even in nests. Especially in District 8. Roger asked what was next. Or rather, what was that? Asking this as she was looking at a parasol. Dante saw that it was installed in a random place that wasn't intended for anyone to sit on. Honglu said that it was a parasol. This much was obvious to Roger, asking why it was there on its own. Honglu then tilted his head, thinking then said that a big shot who brought the claws watched the whole thing from that seat. Ah, yes. That one. The four houses left that there because they wanted a lasting reminder, a warning for the remaining houses. Sinclair asked what it was a reminder for. Honglu answered by saying that they mustn't seek what is not permitted to them, that they should know their place, live the life they deserve, and part from that world the way they deserve. Who determines that? Apparently the elders. He then asked if they should enter now. Dante could see that this environment was unfamiliar to them and the others, but Honglu casually walked ahead of them into that building, like he was out on a mundane stroll. Dante understood that. He said that he heard it all from the family elders, but they understood that Honglu was a witness to the events that happened there. All of it. Honglu paused at this and turned around, telling them that he probably did. Dante knew that whatever that smile meant, it wasn't because he was happy. At that point, an artifact was gained. This was the plaque of the Kong family's destruction, which grants Honglu a temporary level increase, up to level 55, if the identity used wasn't that already. The same goes for the EGO that he might have equipped. They go up to tier 4 temporarily, if not already at that point. The host told everyone that the results of the second round of the family hierarch evaluation would become the final results of the event. The contestant who comes in first place in that round will become their next honored and venerable hierarch. As she spoke, she was informed that the candidates had all arrived safely to their starting positions. She asked them if they are ready to get round 2 rolling. Don Quixote certainly was. Then Don Quixote nervously asked what they needed to do. Heathcliff, in his usual blunt manner, understood they should whack the first they see, asking if it was a simple battle after battle. Anticipating this, the host decided to clarify this to the more hot-headed contestants, helping them out with a full set of rules and regulations before getting into the game. Ishmael agreed with this. The host told the candidates to inspect the area near the entrance points, to locate a bundle of coins with a rope threaded through them, which Don Quixote found, even though she didn't know what the purpose of them were. Roger was excited by the sight of what she believed to be the local currency. Ishmael reminded them to let the host finish. The host added that the coins are the most important things there, as they represent how much life of the candidates has left. Life tokens. Yes. Don Quixote then hurriedly gave Honglu them. She recognized the importance of them, and Don Quixote told Honglu to take them, only for Heathcliff to snatch them out of her hands, inspecting them, not seeing them as life tokens. They look like coins, but they aren't legal tender. The host answered him and explained each candidate must keep their coins secured by the rope threaded through them, and attached the bundle to their waists, hiding them, swallowing them, hanging only some of them on their waist and keeping the rest in their pockets. Basically, any coins not on full display at all times is cause for disqualification. And before Wootis can fully register this, Heathcliff understood that Don Quixote was right the first time and told Honglu to take the life tokens and tie it around his waist. Sinclair asked if he wasn't the one who snatched them away. The host told them that each of them have been given free coins at the start of the game. If they lose all of their coins, they will be immediately eliminated. Don Quixote told Ishmael to tie the desperate knot onto the bundle of coins, to not let the knot be undone. Ishmael annoyingly told her that she's working on this. Honglu saw no need to hurry, and then the host told them that they had 2 hours to collect as many coins as they can, as the rankings will be decided by the number of coins they each have. Honglu understood that's how they should be hung. Otis told him to be careful of that. Ishmael was confident that, short of a sword cutting through, they're staying where they are. And with that done, the host announced that the second round will commence. The 2-hour countdown started. Oh yes, and each coin that has been collected will grant Honglu 0.5% more damage. Yes. So 0.5% more damage. So if he has, say, 10 coins, he'll deal 5% more damage. Ishmael understood that it's one thing to keep their coins as safe as possible from any candidates that they might come across, but Otis understood what she was implying. Unless they're informed of a new rule mid-game, they have to take as many coins as they can from other candidates. Ishmael agreed, as the host said that their ranks would be decided by how many coins they had. Faust told them that the subject of the first round of the Hierarch Evaluation had been an open secret for quite some time, to find a clue towards freedom from aging and death. The only information that was made public about the second round was that it was a martial contest, understanding that there might be secret rules or rules that the host had intentionally neglected to reveal to them. Yeah, it's more likely that. In terms of informational advantage, all participants are equally under-equipped. This led Faust to predict that should they engage in their usual form of confused brawls, they should be somewhere in the middle of the pack. Rodia told her not to be such a downer. They have to make it to the top 2 at least to get what they came there for. Sinclair was thankful that they're not immediately under attack, saying this as he was scouting the area, understanding that another candidate might suddenly jump them out of nowhere and take Honglu's coins. Otis told them that there are no enemy movements yet. She was on high alert and was standing next to Honglu's coin bundle to shield him from any attacks. Gregor was unsure if that was a good thing, that the building was huge and that meant that they would be running into other candidates sooner than they're ready for them. Ryushu noticed the cameras that was everywhere, threatening to destroy them. The host noticed this and warned them that breaking a camera will cost them 1 coin. Gregor believed that she made that up, meaning that it's more a vindictive pronouncement. If that's the case. Honglu told them that they should be able to keep moving by following that hallway, remaining calm even there. Ishmael asked if he's been there before. He confirmed this and understood that besides him, only Jiaqu has been there before. He stopped upon speaking of this. Then he cheerfully said that they won't have to worry about getting lost. Gregor suspected that he was about to say something else before he stopped himself. Rodia then had a sinking feeling that she can't seem to shake off. Diagram 1 was stupidly huge. They chatted a while on that palanquin before they got even close to Honglu's room. Ishmael agreed. They had deer flocking in the garden, a whole lake to themselves. Rodia then asked, "Why are they holding the family hierarch evaluation in a creepy abandoned building like this, when they have enough room to spare?" Ryushu answered that it was simple. Art deserves an exhibition of equal extravagance. Rodia understood. But she asked, why out there? It's almost like they're trying to show them something. Gregor wanted to know what they wanted to show them. Then someone else answered that it was the pride and glory of Daguan Yuan, and a cautionary tale of the house of the Kong family. Then the newcomer added that it's so that the prospective hierarch and the other candidates would be reminded of their downfall. Urtis, after a brief pause, told him that he wasn't asking him, asking if he was there to ambush them. The others were also ready to defend themselves, as the sudden appearance of this candidate had them on alert. He was quick to make it clear that he wasn't there to fight them. He saw them back in the first round. He commented on their healing ability. It was time inversion, actually, but they didn't correct him, suspecting that it's how they passed the first round. It's also how they survived it with the jar monsters. Ishmael asked Honglu if he knew him. He didn't. He didn't exchange many words, although he knows he's from the Wang family. He was Wang Zhao, and he wasn't surprised that he didn't know him, largely because he didn't give him much chance to do so. He was always the type that sat in his room and passed the time reading books. Dante was asking if he's there to make an alliance, if he's not there to fight. Gregor told him that they're not there to make friends. They've had enough bad experiences with that as it is. Ah yes, with the fixer guides in District 4, and one of them tried to gas them to death. Well, it was a temporary setback in that case. In District 11, one of Yisang's former associates tried to kill them. In District 20, Nelly, the only one that seemed to have Heathcliff's back, was the one to stab it, and in the end, threw in her lot with Encore. After Heathcliff freed her from her contracts. Yeah, she replaced one master for another. This time, she did so by choice. They don't have a good track record with that. In fact, most of those they allied with, they usually end up dead. Wang Zhao understood he wasn't there for that. He was there to travel with them, as their goals don't seem to match. He's not there to become the next hierarch. His goal was, well, wanting to become a Pao or canon in a game of Zhang Kui. He had enough self-awareness to know that even a Ji or chariot was too much for him. For those who aren't aware of this, Zhang Kui is the Chinese equivalent of chess, although there are some differences, such as the enemy generals or king can't attack each other directly. There are also places on the board called the River and the Palace that restrict movement for some of the pieces and enhance it with others. Also, the pieces are put on the intersections of lines rather than on the squares. This game was a reference to the Chuhan War that occurred 206 years before the birth of Christ. he decided to demonstrate this by throwing something at them. Dante was caught off guard when Massault snatched a coin out of the air with one hand. Roger complimented this catch, and Massault acknowledged this briefly. Dante could see that, well, they could see what it was, and Sinclair confirmed that it was a coin. Wang Zhao told him to bite into it if he doesn't believe him. Heathcliff told him to do so. Faust told them that it's only effective for coins not made of soft metals, such as, well, more like effective for coins made of soft metals, like gold. Sinclair wanted to know why he'd do this, asking if it's a good strategy. All Wang Zhao said about this was that their host will have something to say about this, which she did, commenting on this action, telling them that candidates can trade coins and favours amongst each other without taking them by force, to convince others to do your bidding or use them to formulate various strategies. Massault saw the decision to use coins as representation of tokens as symbolically appropriate. Dante observed that the host doesn't immediately catch on to what's going on. It took a moment to react to what Ryushu was doing in front of the camera. Otis then sucked up to the boss, adding that the host chimed in to add commentary based on the actions of each candidate. Faust understood this to be to keep the audience informed on the actions of the candidates. Wang Zhao knew this. They don't have to take coins by force, after all, saying that once the speakers fell silent again. Sinclair asked if he wanted the coin back. Wang Zhao didn't see this as necessary, seeing it as a token of appreciation for helping him to figure out the game. Ishmael thanked him for the coin, although she questioned if it was wise to give it away like that. Wang Zhao didn't think so, if he intended to be in first place. But he was more a prey animal than a predator. He had to remain highly aware of his surroundings and observe. Once he's good at that, he'll see which of the prospective candidates should hold the most coins. That's his strategy. Roger thought that he meant that's them. This was starting to make her feel, optimistic. Feeling refreshed to be recognized like that. Otis wasn't as easily swayed, seeing this as him buttering them up. Seeing him as another boring, old wheedling schemer. Gregor saw it as a good start to have 4 coins right at the start. Sinclair believed that they might end up coming in first place at this rate. Wang Zhao then asked what they said to that. Informational advantage can be a pretty significant variable this early in the game. He follows them, seeking his chances and feeling out the game, while they gain information. They both get what they want, and they'll go their separate ways when the time is right. Sinclair asks, what should they do? Yes, he asks Dante and the rest of the damn dozen what they should do. He didn't look agile enough to stab them in the back and steal their coins. Giving Wang Zhao the side eye as he said this. Ishmael saw him as making a decent case. He's not offering them an alliance thoughtlessly. Otis left the decision to Dante. She didn't see any ulterior motives, even considering demanding more coins from him in exchange for letting him accompany them, due to their superior numbers. Massault saw that they already have a net profit of 1 additional coin. If the alliances are concerned, the rational choice is to cut ties while they're ahead. Dante listened to their arguments. Then they tried to signal Honglu as he's the candidate, asking what Honglu's thoughts on this were. And he wasn't much use, saying that they all sounded pretty nice. cheery and thoughtless, unwilling to make a single choice. They told Urutis that they'll accept his offer, but to keep an eye out for any signs of betrayal. She understood, and Honglu told Wang Zhao that they should do this. Wang Zhao understood, asking if he's the favorite child of Dang Yuan. In the past, outside of the Kong family building, Jia Baiyu greeted the relatives, with Jia Mu telling him to greet them, which he did. One even calling him the unchanging, precious jade of Dagyuan Wan, telling Jia Mu that she must be happy to have him. But that relative's child didn't see him as that. Special. He's unimpressive. Despite the caution from the parent, the child asked if they painted his insides with gold to make him special, saying that it must be nice to be loved and coddled by everyone the moment that they're born, asking why he looks so gloomy. The parent didn't think that he'd ever suffer once to his dying days. They envied him for that, but why is he such a smileless child? Well, we're likely to find that out soon enough. Back in the present, Heathcliff was confused by them being able to see Hongdu's memories, as Dante was supposed to be the only one to see them. Dante was surprised that they saw that too. Faust understood this to be the gradual reconstruction of the Golden Bar, which was expanding Dante's ability to peer into the fathoms. Dante questioned this, unsure of this themselves. Faust saw this as enough for now, believing that those powers will become controllable in the future, to be used as they see fit. Hongdu didn't see this as how he'd share his childhood with everyone. Wang Zhao, on the other hand, just saw them standing there, asking if their strategy was to wait for the whole thing to blow over. This told Dante that only they and the damned dozen could see this. Unlike the Honglu they knew, the younger version of him, the smile wasn't there. His eyes were fixed to the ground, in silence. After this, they had to fight Pekatula to get to the next safe room. But there was no event that they could do, where a dilapidated wall blocks their path. There was a device on it with a label that says, "Pick up your entry cards here." Next to it was a dial of sorts. One said, "Looks like they won't let us through so easily." Another asked, "Is anyone particularly good with these devices? I can't seem to figure it out." Someone would need to interface with the dial that was part of the wall. A check would occur. If the check passed, the chosen fiddled with the dial, and then, with a loud noise of stone grinding against the stone, the device activated. An entry card slipped out of the machine, which should open a new path for them. This granted them a worn entry card. If the check failed, that fiddling with the dial would do nothing, and they would believe it to be a dead end, and they would turn around. They then traversed down the hallway after that, walking in awkward, depressed silence, until Wang Zhao broke it. He was meaning to ask about the rumors. Were they true? Hongdu wanted to know what he meant. Wang Zhao meant that Jia Zichun lost her high shoe pack. If he says something valuable, he might hand over another coin. Honglu told him that he lost touch with her after arriving in Hongguan, so he doesn't know the details himself. Wang Zhao would see soon enough, as he saw that losing a high shoe pack is bigger than losing a limb, which would mean that she must be having a hard time out there. Sinclair asked if she was okay. Honglu certainly thought she'd be fine. As they walked down the hallway, they eventually found themselves behind, Before shut gates, Ishmael told them to head inside. Yeah, I suspect that particular high shoe pack was either wiped out during the La Mancha Land incident, or it was taken from her before she and Limbus Company met up. They walked into a room and Gregor saw that it looks like a laboratory. Ryushu didn't sense anything left, not even a faint blood fragrance. Although she did sense a scurrying rat. The rat in question took offense to that, telling her to know who she's talking to before insulting them, asking who they were. Sinclair told him that they're from a different candidate's clan, and Honglu told him that he is Bayu of the Jia family, placidly greeting him. This angered this intruder, asking if he had 12 companions, asking what Wang Zhao was doing there, asking if a thing like him had already made an alliance. Honglu didn't see it that way. Wang Zhao didn't believe that he wasn't buying that at all, and never will. Sinclair asked who he was. Honglu didn't find him memorable, other than that, he was from the Shi family, struggling to remember his full name. The intruder gave him a hint. It has a Hua in it. Honglu thanked him for that help. He's Shi Hua something. The intruder was slightly less annoyed as he was getting there. Ishmael was asking what they were doing. This made the intruder lose patience, not giving a if every candidate had the same amounts of coins, he should prioritize finding weaker candidates like him to steal from. It was beyond him where he got the guts to throw his hat in the ring for the family Hierarch War out of nowhere. Last time he checked, he was roaming the city like some unemployed lout after spending years holed up in Daguan Yuan, asking what brought him there. Had enough of the city tour? Honglu was fortunate that he never had a moment of boredom. He found so many marvelous and interesting things out there, asking if he didn't know that there are people out there who sleep in roofless rooms. Likely a place where either weather is controlled or that's where those in the slums live. This off the member of the Shi family, swearing to eliminate him there. Wang Zhao commented that he sure knows how to make friends, as he got out of the way of the fighting. This candidate of the Shi family wielded a weapon that used charge circuitry, specifically a countercurrent in his weapon, so it gathered charge, which it could be used to increase the final power of the attacks. It can also inflict rupture, although one unbreakable attack deals 75% less damage if the clash is lost. He can counter in the more conventional way, as in taking the beating and dishing it out, unless staggered. He is weak to slash, but strong against blunt. He deals more damage against Honglu and more damage on top of that, up to a maximum of 10% depending on the rupture of the target. He also has more clash power if he has 2 or more charge. The more charge he has, the more damage up he has. But if it's at 7 or more, he gets 3 more damage up, but at the cost of 4 defense level down. The charge also determines the shield when blocking, at least until the charge is at 7 or more. This is the lightning shield defense. Regardless of the number of his mercenaries, who have similar capabilities to their leader but are weaker, if he goes down, it's all over. After taking out their opponent's forces and incapacitating them, Wood is demanding that he hand over his entire coin bundle. She knows that he doesn't have many. He told her that if she did that, he'd be eliminated. Otis was fully aware of this, asking if eliminated candidates were subject to summary execution there. He told her, not in that round. The host told the audience that some of the candidates have finally had some exciting run-ins with each other, reminding them that the goal of that game was to collect as many coins as possible within the given time limit. Cooperation and alliances are good, but when negotiations fail, it's a reliable fallback plan, telling them not to worry as the shadows of Hongyuan hiding in the corners of the arena will safely guide any coinless candidate out of the building, advising them not to resist them as they're faster to act than to talk. Faust defining the shadows of Hongyuan as the Haishu. Their enemy saw this as bull. The host added that if they've lost more than their coins, their life for example, the Haishu will escort their corpse out of there, finding this morbidly funny. Ujis asked the enemy if he wanted his corpse escorted out there, or to be left alive. He handed over the coins without any more resistance. The host announced that this candidate from the Shi family had been eliminated, making it as if Uzis was showing a dominating display of charisma, more like intimidating the other candidates with the threat of a painful death or underestimating them. The host told those eliminated to come out to the hallways, drop their weapons and wait for additional instructions. They will lose all rights and privileges appertaining to the candidates of family hierarch evaluations, and then Honglu remembered that he was Shi Hua Zhen. Rodya then stated that they had 7 coins now. Then she wanted to wrap this up so that they could get out of the creep house. Yi Sang saw that sorrow and tragedy surrounded them, seeing where they were to be a laboratory for an unknown purpose. Dante saw that he was scanning around the room, seeing the machines strewn about the room. Wang Zhao suspected it to be the Kong family's lab. Gregor saw the plaque. Apparently the family was wiped out for breaking a taboo. Sinclair, having familiarity of the feeling of a family being wiped out, based on what Hong Lu said and what is known, they're all dead. Well, almost all of them. Wang Zhao added that it was before the Jia family wielded the power that it does now. The Kong family was seen as impressive to him at that time. They outputted a constant stream of new groundbreaking boluses with all kinds of unique qualities, which was no easy task, but they somehow managed to do that. They even made an impressive contribution to the city as a whole, not just to District 8. The other families had no choice but to watch in awe as it stood like a mountain so far above them. Honglu heard that they delved into various research subjects there. Wang Zhao added that despite all that glory, what awaited them at the end was a tragedy. Ishmael asked if there was no record or evidence of any kind left that could tell them what kind of experiments they carried out there. Wang Zhao told her no. Anything to do with that experiment was purged, practically atomized by the claws that came there. Yi Sang saw that, in search of what they were looking for, they might have failed to notice the avarice spiraling out of control, a recurring development among those whose passion is research. Wang Zhao told them that for a while, people from the wealthy and powerful families in Hongguan refused to even look in the general direction of that building, seeing it as heretical, thinking that it might bring them misfortune. This is what he was told as a child. Yisang asked if Honglu remembered. He told them that he was 10 years old, so his memories weren't very clear, but he did recall. He recalled the day when the weight of avarice broke both the heavens above and the earth beneath the Kong family and smote them. Dante didn't know what to say. Honglu then told them that their existence was as fragile as paper, bound to fade away into nothingness just as they have, believing that they should always be mindful of excess, to empty themselves of that which could cause them to overflow. Dante observed how calm and clinical he spoke of a day when countless lives were lost. Then we heard an announcement where it said, "Thank you so much again, everyone who is here today for the Kong family and Hongguan's eternal prosperity." Yeah, this was clearly a recording from a time before the Kong family was annihilated. It continued by saying, "Let this experiment be another resounding success for us so that everyone in Hongguan will be a step closer to achieving immortal life. Do you know that our success is..." Then we see another of Honglu's memories, as it said, "Our success is a guarantee, so we would like to ask all research personnel to put their best into every project." Jiamu asked the two with her if they saw it now. It was not a matter of formula, but rather the process. The order of formulation that diminished the efficacy of the previous bolus. She then gave an example. Directly mixing two diametrically opposed ingredients, soul flour with the element of fire with fleece flour, which carries the element of water. This will cause a repelling reaction. What would the Kong family do in such a case? Kong Yujin considered using either white peony or gold in between the addition of either ingredient so that they might coexist. Jiamu agreed. A rudimentary application of the bolus production technology. However, the law followed that their ingredients are not defined solely by the 5 phases and 8 trigrams. The 5 phases are correctly aligned. Ingredients imbued with elements of the sexagenary cycle, distinguished by both the heavenly stems and the earthly branches, all exhibit different effects. Another factor to consider of that art is to consider that space-time itself is a variable that modifies the laws in which yin and yang operates. Even if the same recipe was to be followed to the letter, when a bolus is combined affects its quality and characteristics. Kong Shihui understood this to be why following the same family recipes could yield boluses of varying effects. Jiamu then pointed out that they must also be wary of where they stored the boluses once completed and when to remove them from shade. Thus, a wise forger of boluses must always remain acutely aware of the harmony and discord that exists between ingredients. Kong Yujin, or rather Kong Yojin, complimented her high degree of expertise when it comes to boluses. He can't help but always depend on her. She's the only person who would ever come up with such innovative ways to forge those boluses. Kong Sihui remarks that she managed to untangle the soul effects in a matter of moments, when they struggled for it for months. Yes, they struggled with it for months, and they can't help but feel a tinge of shame before her skill. Jiamu told her that they could see it as good karma for the vast and profound generosity Kong Sihui saw it as, thanks to her wisdom and acumen. She deserves every reverence and admiration for coming, armed with nothing but her skill and wit as they admire her achievements. They'll find hope as well. Jiamu commented on the decline of the Shi family. None could have seen coming that the declining Shi family could have produced the next hierarch, especially someone without a proper clan. This made Kong Sihui nervous, as this wasn't what she intended to say to her, worried that she had offended her. Jiamu didn't see it as a problem that she was honest. Seeing this is all thanks to the Kong family's generosity that she could rise. She knew better than anyone that she could have easily eliminated her before she had the chance to ascend to the seat of family hierarch, which they could have done so if they wanted to further solidify the Kong family's position. Kong Yojin told her that their hearts were truly stirred by the most unexpected outcome of that family hierarch war. She clutched victory with nothing but wisdom when all odds were against her, not to mention that they were greatly appreciative of all the assistance that she graciously provided them. Hard to know if this was genuine praise or sucking up to the boss. Jiamu told him to save the compliments. She's only honored that he saw any use for her insignificant tricks, as their only pursuit is to prolong the eternal prosperity of Hongguan, isn't it? Ah, yes. The myth of constant perpetual growth. The goal of any corpo leech. A fantasy, long term. But it doesn't stop them from trying. A little later, Jia Baoyu asks his grandmother if she's making new boluses again. She confirmed this, telling him that there's karma to be repaid. He asks if he has to keep coming there with her. She confirmed this as well, as the beautiful scenery won't be complete without him as its witness. Yes, he was witnessing this. And then we go back to the present, and Yi Sang noted that he frequented that place regularly. Honglu confirmed this, as she often brought him there to play. Wang Zhao was there, patiently waiting, and then asked if they were done collectively spacing out. He's been thinking while they were out of it. He's come up with something quite interesting. Since the results of the second round were decided only when the time was up, he's sure that there are candidates coming up with strategies like collect a moderate amount of coins, find a nice hidden corner to lay low, wait until everything blows over, and we might walk away with a decent rank, asking if they understood what that meant. Urtis saw many points of failure in this, as it would be considered inappropriate for candidates who aren't so confident. It would be appropriate for candidates who aren't so confident in their odds in open combat to do this. Wang Zhao saw it this way. That, and it would be boring for the audience if most of the candidates were just hiding and doing nothing for most of the 2 hours. They even made a show of gathering that audience, understanding that there must be... Dante sensed, at that point, a very subtle vibration the moments that they walked out of the lab and into the hallways. This made Wang Zhao stop in his tracks too, and looked around. Then Gregor asked if the others heard it too. Wang Zhao told them that this was where their brief fellowship comes to an end, telling Jia Baoyu that this was a short but sweet exchange. He didn't think that he was the one that should hold the most coins. Dante didn't understand. Then, just as Wang Zhao disappeared, he told them that once the game ended, he hopes that they'll all find what they came there for. Ortis noted that they weren't planning to stick with him throughout the entire round. hand, but Ishmael agreed that it was sudden, but better than a full-on betrayal. Sinclair was surprised that they were going their separate ways, just like that. Faust told them that there's no time to spare worrying about him. Then Urtis noticed something and told everyone to sprint at full speed towards the 3 o'clock direction. Heathcliff wanted to know what the was going on. Then Urtis made it clear that the walls were rising from the floor. Then the host's cheerful voice began booming from the speakers, excitedly explaining the situation, to keep things interesting with a new rule, due to how bored the audience was with how safe the candidates were playing things. So starting now, walls will start closing off rooms and corralling the candidates every set interval, shrinking the arena. If they somehow end up trapped in a room and fail to make it to the shrinking arena, that's an elimination. This annoyed Urtis. The host added that it was real chaotic out there, advising them not to push their luck to get themselves stuck between walls. They'd have to clear up the mess and scrape and scrub their bits off the walls, telling them to get moving. They all legged it to where the walls were rising from the floor, with the host's chipper voice taunting them this whole time. Some apparently didn't make it. They were so close too, and one candidate was separated from her clan in that chaos, telling them not to lose their coins in the chaos. I see how this works now. It's a mix of the Hunger Games, Battle Royale, and the Running Man. In the case of the Hunger Games, it's because it involves teams that have to take each other out for the amusement of those who, well, in power. Although in that case, they were children. In the case of Battle Royale, it's the shrinking arena, where if they stick around specific parts of the island where they all have to fight each other to the death in, their collars will blow up. And in that case, only one of them survives the time limit, or none at all. In The Running Man, the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, they had to keep moving and had to, well, complete the game zone within the time limit. Although in that case, it's because they're being hunted by what are essentially overpowered, technologically armed gladiators. Well, they certainly know how to stop it from getting too boring for the audience. Until next time. Hail the rabbit!